partner of mine was pulling into the yard yesterday where we work out of, and he had his signal light on, and he was turning into the yard, and a guy ran into the back of him. The guy never put on his brakes and ran slam into the back of my partner's trailer. Yeah, the guy was lucky to walk away alive from that situation, right? Trucking is an extremely dangerous profession, right? Being a driver in general is an extremely dangerous profession. And, any trucker will tell you that trucking can be stressful. Trucking is a stressful profession, right? And a lot of people wonder, well, what's so stressful about just driving around? That's not too bad. Well, I'm gonna give you 3 things that I feel are some of the most stressful things that truckers have to deal with, and we're speaking generally here. So obviously the first thing is other drivers. Obviously the first thing is being on the road with other drivers that are not paying attention, that are texting, that don't understand that a truck is around. As far as I'm concerned, when a truck is around you, when you're passing a truck, right? When after you pass a truck and you get over in front of them, right? Entering on the highway or exiting off the highway in front of a truck, all of those things are stressful situations, and are situations that truckers absolutely have to really be aware of and on the lookout for, because there are a lot of people out here, bottom line, that just can't drive. They just don't know how to operate a motor vehicle. They're distracted. They're doing other things behind the wheel. They're not paying attention. And again, the accident that happened yesterday, that person was lucky to walk away alive. If they didn't have their seatbelt on, they could have possibly been killed, hitting a truck from behind at full speed at 50 miles an hour, 55 miles an hour. So the driving conditions, man, being on the road all of the time with other people that don't know how to really operate a motor vehicle is one of the main things that are really stressful about the trucking business, right? Another thing that's really stressful about trucking, especially nowadays, is the amount of time that you need to put in behind the wheel to make some good money. The amount of time that you need to be out, the amount of miles that you got to put in to really make money. Now that may not be stressful for everyone. I started driving a truck because I love driving, right? I love driving. I don't necessarily love being away from my family for long periods of time, but I do love driving, right? And so if you're the type of person that you love driving and you don't really have a reason to need to be home or to want to be home, then the amount of hours that you got to put in on the road, the amount of miles that you got to put in to make a good check won't bother you. But if you're the type of person that you got other stuff going on at home, you feel like you got a life that you would like to live outside of trucking, and you're looking forward, you're getting into trucking because you're looking for a way to make some money so that you can live your life, you might be approaching it from the wrong aspect. It's not that you can't make money in trucking, but nowadays, in this economy that we in right now, from what I see, if you really want to make some money in trucking, some decent money in trucking, some steady money and consistent money in trucking, you're gonna have to stay on the road. Your wheels gonna have to constantly be turning, and that can be stressful, really stressful to a person that, again, has things at home that they feel like they need to be there tending to, right? The third thing that truckers have to deal with, generally speaking, that's extremely stressful, is going through the first 2 things, right? Dealing with the safety conditions, the hazardous conditions on the road of other drivers and weather conditions, and being away from your family and on the road all of the time, having to go through all of that, and then feeling like you're underpaid, feeling like you're not making enough money, feeling like you're not being compensated what you should be compensated. And it's not that companies are getting drivers nowadays. It's just that a lot of drivers, there are a lot of drivers out here that feel that the amount of money that you can make trucking is not necessarily worth all of the excess extra stuff that you're going to have to go through. The first two things I named, in addition to all of the other stressful situations that truckers have to deal with, dispatchers of companies that seem to not really care about them, want to put profits before people. Those are all extremely stressful situations that truckers have to deal with. But having to go through all of that, and then on top of that, it's like, man, I ain't really making the money that I feel like I should be making, right? Those are three of the top things that I would say, generally speaking, that a lot of truckers deal with. If you ask a trucker what's stressful about trucking, he's probably gonna give you something, one of those things that I just now listed. So if you're thinking about getting into trucking in 2020, it's a good profession, it's a good career to get started with, but it's not all roses out here. Okay, if you love driving, this may be a good way to look. But if you don't really like driving, and you got a family and you got things at the house that you need to be tending to, and you just looking at getting in trucking because you feel like, hey man, truckers make good money, I'm gonna start trucking. You may find out that it's not necessarily like that. Maurice Bay, the Helpful Trucker here. For more helpful CDL tips, go here or consider subscribing to my YouTube channel right here. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but instead you chose to be here with me, and I really appreciate that.